welcome to Weeats, the marijuana review show, where we help you find folks make sense of that crazy place you call your dispensary. And today we are talking dispensaries. We're talking one of the biggest. So, as many of you know, especially if you're longtime viewers here on Weeats, I live in beautiful Long Beach, California. I'm fortunate enough to be sandwiched in between two pretty amazing local dispensaries here in Long Beach. And one of those dispensaries, One Love, is actually Long Beach's oldest and most beloved dispensary. It wins all of the Best of Long Beach Dispensary Awards, and every sort of local accolade has gone to them. And I've certainly happily recommended them dozens of times to people asking what dispensary they should visit here in Long Beach. I always am happy to recommend One Love. But no more. Enter Medmen. Like the cheap mafiosos that they are, they've decided to make an offer that One Love just couldn't refuse. And so, just like that, another local dispensary gets kneecapped by competition that doesn't play fairly. One Love was a union-run shop that offered decent jobs to decent people. They carried a ton of different products from a huge variety of different vendors. Intentional or not, Medmen to me evokes the name Medmen from the Mafia, like I had pointed out earlier. And it seems like such a perfect name for these guys because they have such mafioso tactics. Unlike the Corleones, they leverage large pools of other people's money to influence and bully local governments into submission. These guys sniff out markets with artificial constraints on the number of dispensaries available, like where I live here in Long Beach, where I think there are only 10 dispensaries allowed. And even more perniciously, these guys go after medical-only states like Florida and New York, jack the prices up of people's medicines. They actually totally avoid states with more permissive dispensary laws. They don't have a single dispensary in all of Oregon, Washington, or Colorado. And it seems to me Medmen just knows they cannot compete in a fair and just market, so they avoid them altogether. And once these guys find a dispensary they like in a suitably unfair market, they buy them out. And usually with stock options, that's how they buy them, is they give them stock options, which seems like a terrible deal to me, but I'm not the one with the dispensary. So what they do then after they buy out one of these local dispensaries and change the name to Medmen and get one of those few licenses is they just park themselves in that community and just extract what is essentially rent from the people there. Then they use their size and position in that community to actually lobby against more expansion. They do that presumably to keep, robbing their communities with their dumb, miserable rent-seeking ways. And again, just like the Sopranos or any other famous mafioso family, these guys are actually just totally inept, insecure, and just always right on the edge of total disaster. So their stock has been in total freefall. It's actually been trading for less than a third of what it was trading for as recently as October. And these guys are hemorrhaging money out of every greasy little pore. They lost over $100 million last quarter alone. Think about that, guys. They suck so bad that they actually lose money selling drugs. But how's that possible? How can a company that does everything to raise prices and unfairly edge out competition, how do they do so poorly? Well, that's easy to understand, guys. It's time you meet Mr. Don't Leave Your Drink Unattended Around Me, Adam Bierman, the CEO of Medmen. Excuse me, I almost said Madmen. See? They're getting me. So this bargain basement Vito Genovese is exactly how these guys are bleeding money. When your CEO is a total slimeball that wastes all of the company's and investors' money on utterly frivolous bullshit, exclusively for himself, it's actually really easy to ruin a sure thing. So, for example, let me give you a story. This guy was actually just sued by his former CFO at the beginning of this year for and I quote, this is from the lawsuit, for having 24-hour armed guards for the founders and their families, private jets, special order pearl white Cadillac Escalades for Bierman, and a custom Tesla SUV for his co-founder and president. Not only that, but the company also allegedly hired Bierman's personal therapist and marriage counselor as a full-time performance improvement expert, spending more than $300,000 a year of investors' money for that marriage counselor. Wonderful. And guys, it's not just the top brass that Bierman is sticking it to. If it's a CFO, who cares? He's a rich asshole. But it's much, much more than that. Nope, guys. I'm really, really sad to say that these guys are just as happy to rip off the smallest cogs as the biggest cogs and their investors in this big, giant, fraudulent smorgasbord. So if getting sued by your CFO isn't enough, well, what about all the little guys? Well, they're also suing. There's currently a class action lawsuit against Medmen, mostly based out of one of their West Hollywood stores. Two people are suing there, starting a class action lawsuit, which may end up covering about more than 100 people or so. These guys allege, and I would not be surprised to find out if this is true, that the management was often making them work overtime without paying them and did not maintain accurate payroll records so as not to pay everybody what they were owed. Really, really, really gross. It's one thing to treat a CFO like shit, but it's a whole nother thing to treat your minimum wage employees terribly too. And it might not surprise you guys to find out that Bierman is a total sleazeball in many other ways. Just like the mafia guys that he seems to admire so much. The dude's a total sexist, racist, homophobic piece of shit. He has been caught using racially inappropriate references about a Los Angeles city councilman, calling them and I apologize, midget Negro. He's characterized cannabis social equity programs as reparations. And as well, Bierman is also called a representative of the Drug Policy Alliance, a fat black lesbian. Pretty fucking despicable. Long Beach should not only not be welcoming these guys into our community, we should be working hard to make sure that they never come back. We only have 10 dispensary spots here in Long Beach for whatever stupid reason. So why give it to one of these guys that have proven themselves to be immoral and shady? And it's not just me that's worried about what an immoral and shady character can do to the weed business. It's the city themselves. It's codified right in their laws. So what I decided to do is I decided to actually look up those laws about dispensary ownership here. I'm looking through them, as you might expect, they're terrible and onerous, and it doesn't actually even look like there's a way to stop Medmen from just hoovering up all the dispensaries here that they want and converting them to their shitty Apple Store-like business model. But then I did notice something. There's a heading. It says, who is eligible to apply for a medical marijuana business license? There it actually lists several reasons your application could be denied. And sure enough, the final bullet point states a clear and irrefutable reason to turn down their license. It states, applicants or entities that have a previous record of violating federal or state laws relating to workplace safety, wages, and compensation, employee discrimination, or union activity. And if nothing else, guys, it seems like they're certainly guilty of violating, at the very least, the spirit of the law, if not the actual letter. So why is Long Beach letting these guys skirt around this stipulation? Everybody else had to follow this rule. Why these guys? I don't know. Who knows? But we can try to fight it. We can. We can actually fight them. We can take a stand against letting rampant capitalism run roughshod over this nascent industry that, let's be honest, people fought and died for us to get to this point. For legalization, people sacrificed their lives along the way. People spent years and years in jail People got the shit kicked out of them. Communities were destroyed. And now, after years and years of fighting, we're going to say, thanks for all the hard work. Let's let the rich white men take it from here. We got to fight back. We got to fight back. That can't be the solution. So guys, here's exactly what we can do. And I know it's not much, but it's a start. And, anything that we can do to slow down the expansion of Medmen and their ilk, to continue to let the local side of the weed business flourish, anything we can do, I think, is a good thing. So what we should do, and what I've already done, is Long Beach actually has an official complaint forum for marijuana businesses. Normally I wouldn't advise anybody to ever narc on anybody for any reason, but these guys have earned it. So, these forums, you can file a complaint for anything. If the dispensary stinks too much, if they have music too loud, if they're open too late, whatever the case may be. But my complaint with Medmen is that they should not be allowed to enter the market at all. Long Beach has stipulated, they've made explicitly clear that anybody who has, engaged in wage fuckery or discrimination of any kind is not welcome here. And that's what we should tell them. We should tell them that there are plenty of great local businesses to consider, and to not let these guys that violate the exact same things that they were scared of into our communities. And guys, I think if enough of us urge the city to take action, if nothing else, they'll have no choice but to respond. And you know what? If we band together and stick it to these assholes, maybe we can just whack these Medmen. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a real blast. Love doing these. I will see you guys on the next one. And just know until then, it has been the real shit. Ciao.